Greetings, brethren, sistren, and otherin. Welcome once again to an exciting episode of Fortress of Bone, brought to you by No Theoretical Bias Productions. Currently, we're playing Splintered Moon, a post-apocalyptic fantasy. So, things have gotten quite exciting. When last we met, you will recall, our band of ne'er-do-wells and reprobates, a band of doughty warriors and mages, braved the Fortress of Bone, an old stronghold that was rumored to hold some vast riches and weapons. Acolyte Xander and the rest of the crew were able to recover some things. Also, auspiciously, a massive store of drinkable water, thanks again to our covenant, who accidentally managed to purify the entire reservoir, which was manky and gross beforehand. So, grabbing what they could, our team headed back home. Acolyte Xander calls the Temple of Light his base of operations. And as you were traveling, you made it through some of the outlying villages. The Temple of Light has expanded slightly. It's got some worshippers and supporters along a minor trade route there. Looking at our map, so we have the Temple of Light and a few associated villages, etc., etc., etc. There are some main travel ways around here. The temple is located in a rocky and mountainous region, not capital M mountains, but still hard enough to climb. The route in the middle of the triangle there is up some steepness, down some steepness, around some stuff. And the temple is situated basically because of its defensive capabilities and also because there is a tiny little spring of fresh water there. It's a hot springs. So the healing waters, the minerals, etc. All right, so you're rolling into town from the south. The guards and watchers in the outlying villages recognized you and passed you on through. And as you're approaching the temple, which is a fortified monastery, basically with a village next to it, you see a strange sight, something that you didn't expect. There is a troop of soldiers leaving the temple. The gates swing wide, and out they come. At the head is a person in full plate armor, something only reserved for the finest warriors and shields of your order. He's mounted, he, she, or they are mounted on a desert horse. They call them desert horses. They're more lizard than anything else. Faceted bug eyes. They're omnivorous, and instead of hooves, they have semi-prehensile feet. You see everyone now and again grab a rat and toss it in its mouth. They are a staple out here because they've got internal fat reserves, so they don't have to drink terribly often. So if you can imagine a cross between a camel, a horse, and a giant lizard thing, they're relatively graceful. He's mounted on one of those with sword and lance, nice shield, and he leads a troop of soldiers. The soldiers are in excellent armor, mostly scale, a few with a breastplate and backplate. They have maces and steel crossbows. They look small, but Xander, having been in a few fights before, steel bows hit really hard. They're all wearing some variant of a surcoat to keep the sun off. They're a dusty gray that would fit in with most of the Badlands terrain out here, with one exception. They all have a half sunburst on the on them someplace. It's a gray line with a faded yellow uh, sunburst halfway. Looks like a sunrise of all things, and they're headed your way slowly. Um, the knight type person in front has got his uh, lance in a stirrup holster, and his armored head turns to look at you as he rides slowly by. There are nine of the foot soldiers with him, um, and they look pretty tough. Um, they do have some variety in armor and weapons. It's mostly maces and steel bows, though. Um, but you're all struck with, wow, those folks have got some really good gear, and it's all in excellent shape. And that's a military unit. Even though it's only about 10 of them, they look like they would be a very, very hard nut to crack. The one thing that catches your attention after that, though, there's five in front, five in back with their knight, the leader. In the middle are a bunch of badly dressed individuals carrying uh, packs, basically. It's four or five pack bearing um, servants, shall we say, and they look pretty downtrodden. Um, they don't look up when as they pass by you and seem very concerned about the soldiers. And they march away down off to the south. The warriors on the wall wave and greet you and bring you in. They recognize Xander. And first things first, hospitality. You all get a damp cloth to wipe off your hands and faces. And a another acolyte, somebody not known to you, Xander, but she's wearing the outfit of an acolyte. She says, "Acolyte Xander, the deacon Jonquil is asking for you. They heard you were coming this way, and we received word from one of the villages. If you could just walk this way, please." Um, and you're ushered into a room, um, fairly nice. A servant comes in, well, not really a servant, a lower level priest comes in and gives you all these little thimble-sized glasses of water as a token, and a piece of hard bread is broken up and given to you. So now the the all the rituals has been observed. You are now those of you who don't call this place home, you're now honored guests to be protected from the outside elements. And Deacon Jonquil is there, and she rises and nods to you as you come on in. So, Acolyte Xander, welcome, welcome. I understand from your earlier reports from the outlying villages, you've got something to tell us. What is this about a fortress of bone? Right, right. Hmm. Oh, that's wonderful. Do you happen to still have that map? Um, one of you does. Uh, Probably. Who was hanging onto the map? Doesn't really matter. If you wish, you can produce the map.
I can hand in the map.
Beautiful. Okay. Jonquil is really, really excited about this. Um, and a few words about Deacon Jonquil. She's slim, medium height, fairly dark skin, and has blonde hair that she keeps relatively short. She calls in a couple of brothers and they discuss the map. Long story short, she's gonna do like a postmortem debriefing on this patrol. You sent it on a fairly regular patrol. You had some associates, some adjuncts. You bumped into some stuff. Is there anything about the time in the Fortress of Bone that you're going to be leaving out?
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. She does ask about the amulets you found to get into places, and those are collected. So if you still have those, she gets those. Um, she starts looking a little distracted because a huge trove of water is going to be especially now that it's undefended, is going to be a real prize for whoever can get there first and defend it. So she's like, "I'm terribly sorry, Acolyte. Acolyte, no, no, you have served the temple well. Um, no, I," and rummages through a desk, um, pulls out a like an armband, and she says, "Kneel." Okay. She places the armband in your hands and covers your hands over it and holds them. And she speaks a benediction. She speaks the benediction that you've heard 100 times. You have been officially graduated to brother. So nicely done with all of the benefits and responsibilities of that. Um, I do have some other things I wanted to talk to you about. However, brother Brother Maynard is going to tell you the details. Um, and I have to get on top of this Fortress of Bone situation. Excellent, excellent, excellent work. Um, the rest of you, oh, and she gets these tokens. They're basically wooden, not even wooden. They're little metal plaques with particular stamps and runes in them. She gives you each a couple of those and says, "This one's good to replenish your water. This one is good to replenish food stores. This one is good to have any of your mundane equipment repaired and or replaced. And here's a little bonus," and gives you all little bags of jingle. So probably twists of salt, gemstone chips. Maybe some tea, like little bags of tea. So basically, minor trade goods. So all of you can take 5 jingle on top of whatever jingle you've also managed to accumulate, and that does apply to Brother Xander as well. All right. So she gives you into the capable hands of Brother Maynard, and he takes you out. Basically, you go to the closest thing that the temple has to a tavern. It's kind of a mess hall, but the basics: a bowl of slop and some thin beer are you know on the house. Anything else you got to pay for. So he sits you down in a corner and wants to talk a little bit. Maynard's he's stocky. He's not exactly fat, but he's built like a blacksmith. He's got a lot of muscle with a nice layer of chub over it. Um, Black hair cut short. Again, he's wearing the brother's robes. He's like, "Hey, good job there, brother Xander. I'm glad to hear about it." Um, and he's got the demeanor of like like a thug, like a street punk who's gone legit. His nose has been broken multiple times, um, and he's got knife scars on his arms when his sleeves are up. Um, looks like a tough dude, and so all right. So the deacon wanted me to fill you in on the most recent events. Did you see the Did you see the troop that left town? Oh my. Okay. So those bad boys, they showed up and introduced themselves earlier this week, probably about 2 days ago. They call themselves servants of the Dominion. And of course, we're all a little concerned. What the hell is a Dominion? Um, Evidently, somewhere up north, um, some people have gotten together and are. I didn't understand most of what they were saying. Kind of something sort of along the lines of trying to rebuild from the ash. The thing, the sunrise. The sunrise is on the new world. Yeah, right. Anyway, so we don't know if they got a crazy charismatic leader up there or something, or if they're honest about this. They're trying to. Anyway, so they showed up. Um, and showed off all their pretty weapons and armor. Very disciplined crew. I mean, very disciplined crew. We may or may not have sent over a few people to check them out and see what they had to say, and they didn't throw away the key on their mouths there. The big talker was the knight. What did they call him? Sir. What is it? It wasn't Victor. It was Vikend. Vikend, something like that. Sir Vikend runs a tight ship. All the other hitters were very yes sir, no sir, thank you sir. And when he said jump, they said how high. But he came in and had a few words with the priest and observed all rules of hospitality, and they lit out right before you all showed up. Um, we're a little worried about that. We had no idea that anybody like that was around anymore. Certainly not within easy marching distance of the temple. They came in from the north, though. They left south. Don't know where they're going. They came in from the north. They reprovisioned here, and we charged them a pretty penny for it, which they coughed up relatively quick. Our other big problem is the guys carrying all the baggage. Yeah, they're slaves. They are the enslaved. Um, and so we're a little tense about that. Most of them, one of the other brothers said that most of them look like some of these tribal folks from up north, like northwest. So if that's an indicator, um, but yeah, you haven't run into anybody like that before now, have you? Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, okay. So, also, if again, if you bump into any information on them, um, the Deacon Jonquil is really interested in knowing more about our new friends. They're talking, oh, we'll trade with you and we'll, bring prosperity and peace. And we're like, oh, okay. So, I'm a little worried that if these are the guys that they show up just to talk, I don't know that I want to see when they get grumpy. We don't know how many people they can field. More than us, probably. Anyway, hey, good job on the whole water thing there. don't know if the deacon was talking about it. We might be able to set up an entire, you know, new temple location out there, depending on how quickly that water replenishes. So nice, nice. Hey, Laris, the good stuff, the bottle behind the bottle. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One each. All right. If you need anything, you know where to find me. Um, good job. Good job. And he gets up and leaves. And you are all fairly quickly presented with a relatively small glass. Oh, oh, oh. Uh, Brother Maynard stops in the door. He's like, "Oh, somebody. I think you might all know this guy. Hey, uh, I'm forgetting names. Alder, Alder, over here, please." And he makes introductions. Oh, you probably know these guys. Alder, Albrecht Alder, Brother Xander, Luther Zeil, and Ranvir Astoria. Laris, one for yeah. So you get set up with a nice shot of something. It's mead. It's winter mead. Packs quite a kick and very tasty. All right. The good Alder here. Deacon Jonquil, since you've been going out and sticking your heads in the nooses, uh, the deacon figured that you could use a little backup. So, honorable, my honorable Alder, um, Brother Xander is in charge of this little venture. But Brother Xander, Alder's got quite a bit of experience in the field as a slugger, so if it boils down to purely military, you might follow his lead. All right. Um, Again, good job. And he takes off. Um, so what do you do? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Again, for the viewing public, blood is history, prior relationships, and it's basically attitudes. Um, the PCs don't have to like each other or love each other, but they do know each other. For example, a blood might be, this is my cousin. Oh, you're going adventuring with your cousin. You love your cousin. No, I hate my cousin. My mom made me take him, but you grew up together. Oh, is he climbing the tree again? Oh, he's going to fall and break his arm. My mom will never let me hear the end of it. So it's got a mechanical advantage. If you're assisting somebody that you have any blood with, you add your number of blood to the roll. And also, there's an XP generation if your attitude toward a person changes significantly. So if Xander says, "Oh, Alder, he's always had my back, good in a fight. We fought at the Battle of the Red Bluff, and just a great, salt of the earth. Great." If that changes, they run into some raiders, and Alder runs like hell. It's like, oh, I thought that Alder was a solid dude who had my back. Turns out he doesn't. So, all right. So let's start with Mr. Alder. Again, you've got Brother Xander the Shield, Luther Zeil the Crucible, and Ranvir Astoria the Covenant. One thing, blood only goes one way. Okay. So Alder might think that Luther Zeil is just the best thing since Betty White. Luther's like, he follows me around. He's kind of annoying. It only goes one way. You don't have to share an attitude. However, you do have to agree on it. So if Alder says, "Oh, Xander's a righteous dude," Xander's like, "Yeah, I am kind of a righteous dude." If Xander's like, "Oh, Alder's good in a fight and really annoying otherwise," are you cool with that? Alder's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of a jerk." Okay, cool. You got to agree on it, but the attitude only goes one way. So, Mr. Alder, do you have any potential hypotheses on your attitudes about Xander, Luther, or Ranvir?
I think so. At least one of my first things I think of is for Luthor, as he's the I believe he's more of a magic caster, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, he's a fire mage. Very handy to have around if there's any undead.
So I'm thinking for that blood, I would say has yet to see real bloodshed in
Oh,
the way of like physical hand-to-hand combat.
gotcha. So he's your attitude is he's kind of a echelon guy, um, not hasn't seen a lot of toe-to-toe fighting.
Yep.
Okay, so still a little green in the whole combat arena. Luther, what do you think? Is that
I mean, yeah.
okay? Cool. So write that down. Um, we'll just go around the table. Xander, what attitudes would you have about a notorious and dangerous warrior?
I think Xander. I know that this one is not necessarily in the book, but I kind of want to customize it to where it's like
Sure.
he's a good weapon, but he has to be wielded properly.
Ah, yes, yes. Alder is a weapon, and you got to be careful that he doesn't turn in your hand. Got it. And are you cool with that, Alder?
Yes.
Excellent. Luther, what attitudes might you have about a brave and dangerous warrior?
Like knowing Luther, I don't think he knows what to think of this guy.
Uh-huh.
So probably like I'm not sure what to think of this man. He doesn't seem too safe though, or like something like that.
Okay. Is Luther the kind of person to think of warriors as like meat shields? You know, get up there and soak some damage, you jarhead. Or
Oh
is
yeah,
it? Oh, okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So an attitude like Albrecht is a good person to stand between me and anything that's going to try to kill me. A useful implement. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think that works perfectly.
Cool. Cool. How about you, Albrecht? Does that
I
work
think
for
that
you?
sounds good.
Beautiful. Ranvir the Covenant. All the little spirits following you around. Oh, what attitudes might you have toward Albrecht?
I think Ranvir's whole thing about like wanting to deliver compassion and empathy along the wasteland contrasts with that soldier's personality who has killed and like hurt.
So, are you saying you have some sympathy for somebody whose life and job is death and mayhem, or are you saying he really bothers you because you're all about growth and community, and he's death walking? What attitudes do you have about this blood-soaked soldier?
Like with Ranvir, he tries to find the good in everybody. So like he
Okay,
does kind of sympathize with him as a person, but does not agree with his actions and his lifestyle.
okay, okay. So an attitude like, um, I let's see, I feel, um, let's see, yeah, basically what you said. For I sympathize with Albrecht because of the world that he's in and the things he has to do to survive, but it does kind of bug me. Okay, got it. However you want to write that in pretty. Albrecht, what attitudes might you have about Xander, Ranvir, or Luther? Oh, by the way, you can't have more than one blood with somebody if they're significantly uh, distanced. You know, it could be this is my cousin and I have to keep him safe, and this guy is terrible in a fight, and he's going to get killed. So you can have multiple blood with somebody if you've got some internal conflicts. Albrecht, any attitudes about the others?
Okay, sorry, I did Luther. I'm thinking for Ranvir, seeing as he's not exactly the most confrontational type.
Mhm.
I would almost think like at one point that I would have definitely have saved his life, going in the direction of the blood of owes me their life, admit it or not.
Oh, oh,
Or at least that's the
okay.
way he sees it.
Okay. Ranvir, could you think of a situation where maybe you were in mortal danger and he stepped between you and death?
I think if there was a situation, it was like one I couldn't like charm my way out of. Like you trying
Okay.
to like be kind.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. I like it. I like it. Write that one down, Albrecht. And what about with Xander?
Uh, I would say the served with me and has seen some things.
Okay. Excellent. 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 So maybe you were sent out on another expedition. Um, and you gotta admit, Xander's pretty darn good in a fight. Um, whether he's a god botherer or not, spirit botherer. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so that's established in blood. Um, again, on the character sheets, if you are rolling to pop or drop, if you're rolling to assist or hinder somebody, there's going to be a pop up that says who with. Just make sure you got the name in the one bar and the description of the blood in the next, because it just goes by name. All right, so you all are having a pleasant drink and a rest here in the mess hall. What are you doing?
I think I'm welcoming uh, Alder in, just like talking to him.
Okay, beautiful. So you have a pleasant conversation. Somebody brings over a meal that's a step or two above the normal slop. Compliments of Brother Maynard, and the serving acolyte congratulates you on your promotion, brother. So, um, you receive okay. The conversations are mostly around you are mostly about the Dominion. Everybody's a little on edge about that. There was no official word on if and when they would ever be back. Though did anybody get bothered by the way they said "see you soon"? Yeah, we all got bothered by that. Yikes. Um, but Xander, you since you've shown your ability to think on your feet um, and improvise when necessary, you're kind of a scouty type without portfolio. Um, if you think of something if you think of a lead that needs to be chased down, or if you think of a problem that needs more information about it, um, problem that's going to affect the temple, um, again, as long as you can get clearance from the higher ups, they're like, yeah, run out and chase down that mystery and see if it's going to hurt us. So, so Albrecht, while you were here, you've been in the temple before. You have I'm gonna go around the table on this. You have a contact here. Not anybody that's working with you, or I'm sorry, working for you, but somebody that you've had some positive interactions with in the past. What type of person might your um, friendly person be?
I'm thinking maybe another warrior or soldier.
Okay, one of the soldiers. Okay, let's see. Um, let's see. The low level, just straight warriors. Nobody, not officially part of the church, but like church protectors. Let's call them a protector. Protector. Um, Garg. Protector Garg. Probably at least half orc. Definitely had some orc in his heritage, but again, when the sky burned down and fell over, um, people are people are people are people. Um, let's see, he's got one hand and a prosthetic. Um, it's more than just a hook but not much more. Doesn't seem to slow him down much, and it was his shield arm, so he can still hold the shield. Let's see. And he's really proud of his hair. Okay. He has got long gray hair that he keeps in intricate braids. He's got like a bundle of braids. When he has to put it back, it looks like, looks like a bunch of gray markers that he's done up. Long gray braids. And oh, and he likes to gamble a little bit. So yeah. So Protector Garg is going to be your known associate there. You might want to have a talk with him at some point. Brother Xander, you've got somebody that you know here, either at the temple itself or in the village around here, that you get along with well. What kind of person would that be?
I think it would be with the temple, and I think Xander gets along really well with this one deacon, but I think this deacon is the person who brought Xander in, but like when Xander came into the temple, he was distanced from the deacon because you don't want any sense at all um, of any type of like nepotism or oh I
Right.
brought this person in. So if you bring someone
Right.
in, they're put in like almost the opposite department of you. So
Yes. Yes. Okay. So Deacon Zinn, Zinn. He's an older mentor. Um, uh, quite a bit older, actually. He's an elder, um, walks with a limp, um, very cheerful. He gives big uncle energy, kind of a thing. Big smile, lots of laugh lines. Um, and yeah, um, when the temple just started getting big, Deaconson was one of the faces, Oh, I'm just, a happy old man coming around wanting to tell the word about the word of the Temple of Light. And yeah, you got his attention, um, for whatever reason, and talk to your folks about bringing you into the temple. You can decide if they were happy or upset about that. But yeah, basically hands off. They put you through the equivalent of like basic training plus religious instruction, which you soaked up like a sponge. And as soon as you were officially an acolyte and part of the gang, that's when Deacon Zinn showed up again and had a few nice words to say about your training and how well you did in things. Your instructors said good things about you. Yeah. So um, the deacons also are kind of the unofficial like counselors. If things are going bad, and things are usually going bad, everybody needs a a kind kind voice and a willing ear. So not quite a confessor. It's not that structured, but yeah, if you got problems, you can go to Deacon Zinn, um, and at least have a hearing there. So, Luther, you've made an unlikely, oh, friend is too strong a term, but let's say an associate who you've had some positive dealings with, maybe business dealings, bringing them stuff, maybe you tell me what kind of person would Luther want to get to know better?
Ooh. Um, Not sure. Luther is just such a guy that, well, quite frankly, just doesn't know anybody. But there was this one guy he met once. I
Mhm.
believe his name was, um, Liam.
Liam, gotcha. What was
Liam was a
Liam's?
Liam was a guy who knew a lot about like magic and history, but honestly, Luther didn't care too much about it, so he didn't really hang out with him too much.
Hmm. Hmm.
But he knows the guy.
Okay. So Acolyte Liam, the historian, um, let's see. I'm seeing somebody kind of bookish, uh, ink stained fingers, and his hair is a little greasy because he forgot to bathe this week. So, greasy hair, ink stained fingers. What might have happened, and try this one on for size. What might have happened is you two were just in the same place. Um, the village drinking hole or the mess hall or something. And he just said something. He's muttering to himself or flipping through an old book and talking about something that kind of caught your attention. And somewhere along the lines, Liam just thinks that you're just like the best listener ever. Oh my god. And you're just like, yeah, cool story, bro. Yeah, another one here. Cool story, bro. But yeah, he lights up like this little, sunflower anytime you're around. Oh, my good friend Liam, or my good friend Luther, yes. And like wants to tell you about his current hyper focus. But yeah, he is good for he's good for information about the past, and a lot of that is magically oriented. So you can talk to him at your leisure. Finally, last but not least, Ranveer, somebody you get along with here in the fortress and the village. What kind of person would be up Ranveer's alley?
I thought was someone not necessarily like Ranveer, but somebody Ranveer may have reformed, like a criminal.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Oh, Balthazar. Balthazar the Scout. Um, Used to be known as Balthazar the Thief. And he would only have been known that for long enough to hang him from the closest wall. Um, yeah. Scrawny guy. Um, Kind of shifty eyed. Um, and younger, kind of not out of his teens, but young, wiry, um, 50 eyes, and basically, um, so somebody that you reformed. So maybe this kid was like a thief heading down the real wrong road, and for whatever reason, he was in a mood to be receptive. Maybe he was going to get in trouble for something. Maybe all fingers were pointing that he had boosted something that he shouldn't have had. Yeah. And you were able to speak on his behalf. Um, and you kind of surprised people because you're like, yeah, he did steal that. He did. Yeah, but I've talked with him and the kid's got a good heart and maybe he can use his powers for good kind of a thing. Returned whatever the stolen item was. Maybe you did a little bit of magic. Maybe you did a little, blessing here, a little healing. Oh, if this is the right thing to do, maybe this wonderful minor miracle will happen. Yud yud yud, whatever. So yeah, and Balthazar, against all odds, has like taken to it. And he's not part of the temple, but he's like a known associate, guide, scout type. They send him off into the wilderness. He also he also loves going on trips when they're getting near any of the old ruins because he's like a stuff magnet. You send him out into the middle of a desert and he comes back with like a rusty dagger and you know a semi-precious gemstone. Where'd you get that, Balthazar? Found it. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, he's kind of a scrounger, let's say. Okay, so cool. Balthazar the Scout. All right. Based on any of that, do any of you go and make acquaintance or reacquaintance with some of your contacts here at the temple?
I
Anybody
don't
want?
think Luther would go talk to Liam, but Liam definitely spotted
Mike.
Luther
Ah,
and
yes.
headed over.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so if you're going to have an annoying researcher who just thinks, the sun rises and sets on you, the one thing you can do is kind of put a bug in his ear. Hey, Liam, did you ever hear about any places to, there might be a trove of potions or scrolls or wands or anything. Is there anything in those books of yours about X? If you were looking for information about the past and about magic, what sort of thing you've got your little research dog here. What track would you have set him
Um, Probably something to do with maybe like fuel for immortal flames or anything that could not to
on?
suggest anything crazy, but could fuel a lantern with a spirit in it.
Oh, okay. So you're looking for something that might uh appease your spirit or in some ways make it stronger. Okay, beautiful. Go ahead and give me a let's see. I'm just going to call it a sharp roll to see if you were able to get that concept across to him in a way that he understood. Okay, 6. Go ahead and mark experience. Um, well, um, he sits you down with that look in his eyes. Oh, geez. And basically talks your ear off for like an hour and a half. And he keeps circling the drain of the conversation. And you're like, and then you found okay. Oh, no, no, no. I'm getting to that. And then they did this. Basically, he, after an hour long conversation of punishing your ears, he says that there are um, these special kinds of incense. Back in the day, there were like elemental incense, so that if you burned it in the presence of a spirit or like an elemental or some of the constructs, they would take power from it. Um, he says the bad news is I haven't figured out a location on that yet. That's going to be one of the deacons gave me a job to transcribe all these uh, records. So I've only been doing that in my spare time, but I've been doing it a lot. Okay, okay. Hey, I gotta go, but really good to see you. And like he goes for the hug, and like takes off. All right. Anybody else going to talk to your contacts?
I think Xander would for sure go talk to Deacon Zen just to ask a little bit more, just to say, hey, we found some water. I'm sure you've heard, but more about like, so what's going on with this new group, and trying to like inquire
Mm,
if he knows anything else beyond what I
mm.
was told.
Excellent. All right. So you go in, and of course he's very happy to see you. Oh, 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 what is this I see before me? You pinch the cheeks, Oh, when you left, you were a baby. They put some armor on a baby and sent him out. Oh, look at the big brother here. Very, very good to see you. Very good to see you, my friend. Knew you had it in you. Next week you're going to be taking over my seat in the council. It's just how it goes. And it would be a nice replacement, and it would let me get some rest. Oh, come in, come in. And he's got this nice little apartment type. Um, it's half an apartment, half an office, but the office is basically cluttered. He spends most of his time on the tiny little patio, where he's got like flower boxes, these stone flower boxes, and he's just very, very, very gently encouraging these blooms to grow. But it makes him happy, so he puts on a sun hat. He gives you a sun hat, and he's like, "Ah, so, and does anything currently trouble you, brother? Anything that you need to unburden your soul of?"
Uh, Recently, I'm sure you've heard of our wonderful adventure into the Fortress of Bone, and the great
Yeah,
stuff that we've been able to take. I
yes, yes.
I found myself, I I wasn't strong enough to, I guess, hold on to some of the more the things I could have donated in the will of the church, I guess. And I found myself giving more to my friends around me. And I just have this question of, is it better to allow those around me to give equally and to make sure that they are, I guess, well off enough, or should I take possessions that I have found that might do them good but would also do better for, I guess, Hikari and donations? Should I donate more, or should I make sure to like spread wealth?
That is an excellent question, brother. Um, the temple teaches that we're all trying to bring everyone into the light, and there are so many paths to that beautiful shining destination. Um, and of course, as the book says, if your life is in danger, you one does what one must to keep body and soul together. So also alliances are good things to have. Um, Anyone who is trying to serve our purposes, whether they believe in the light or not, is a good thing. Is a good thing. So we make friends, we cement our alliances, we give what we can to show that. So if you and your associates, you and your friends are sharing and sharing alike, these people have a better attitude about the church. Um, the temple is beneficial and gives with both hands where we may. And not all sacrifices are suitable for the lights. Um, but the farmer, the parable of the farmer. There was a farmer who was very poor and used his food to feed himself and his family and had nothing. And the acolyte arrived and said, "No, you must sacrifice. You must give up something to the temple." He was a foolish acolyte. And the farmer said, "All I have is a big pile of manure," which stymied the acolyte. So he called in a wiser brother, and the brother said, "Oh, this is the best offering to the light. This is the best offering. Take it, use it to grow more food. Use it to grow your family. Use it to grow the work. Send us some food when you have it. Send us, you know." But the goddess doesn't need a pile of cow manure. The goddess needs the people to be healthy and prosperous, growing. We all grow in the light, plants and people alike. So don't, please don't throw yourself on your sword for not feeling generous enough to the temple. Um, Obviously, anything you'd give a warrior a blade, you'd give a priest a book, you'd give a farmer a hoe. It would not make any sense to give the others to the others. So use your best judgment. You've had some luck with that in the past. Is there anything that you had a question about that you were planning to donate?
Uh, let me look over what I have. I think I'll pull out. Zener will pull out the fire jewel that he has
Mm.
and say, "I we found quite a few of these,
Ah,
and it's very dangerous, but it's also very shiny. So, if handled carefully enough, it could help both in a worship sense and possibly a defense sense. So, I was thinking about giving this in, but I don't know who exactly I should give it to."
the leader of the protectors Do you know Brother Steele?
I guess I
Uh,
know Brother Stu.
yes. Um, Brother Steele is been invaluable to us in maintaining the defenses of the temple. I'm certain that the good brother would be very interested in these fire gems you speak of, especially if they are what I've heard similar things in the past. If they're what I think they are, he will be extremely pleased with a few of those. On the other hand, you are going out into the dark. You walk in places where the light does not shine. And a few of those, if you had two or three that you wanted to keep handle of, I would really like you to come back. And if that would be the difference between a a celebration or a funeral, let's have the celebration. Did
Okay.
that did that did that ease your mind a bit, brother?
Yes. One more thing. I was
Certainly.
told a lot about this group coming in
Mm.
and how they had these slaves with them. Uh, they also seemed very much like the tribal people of the northern areas. If they said they're coming back, I really do worry about our defenses here in our most outward villages.
The villages are of some concern, yes. Slavery is such an ugly practice. It is anathema, of course, to the light, because all walk in the light. And it pains me deeply that we can't do more to free those currently in bondage. The council, some members of the council are more concerned with defense, some are more concerned with piety, some are more concerned with enriching the temple by whatever means necessary. Um, and again, allies are a good thing to have, but I don't know that the Dominion is looking for allies. Um, I'm sure Brother Liam could tell you all about, I'm sorry, Acolyte Liam could tell you all about the kings and princes of the ancients. No, I'm very concerned about them, and I'm very concerned that they seem so noble and so brave and so dedicated to whatever it is their cause is, the sunrise on the new world. But to grind anyone else under their heel uh, in service of that, that is absolutely not our way. So, yes, any information that you could find about the Dominion would be of great use to the wiser heads in the council. And Northwestern tribals. Yes, yes, now that you mention, I only saw them from the balcony here, but yes, that does make sense. We don't we don't know much about the Northwest. Um, there's the necropolis, of course, that is a barrier to a lot of that. But again, forewarned is forearmed, and foreknowledge is the best forewarned. All right, so he changes the topic to lighter things. He's got this uh he's got this maid, housekeeper, whatever, who's easily as old as he is, and she makes the best little tiny little wafer cookies. I mean, they're so you have no idea where he's getting the sugar, and they'll just melt in your mouth. So of course he breaks out the tiny little box. Oh, don't tell her I'm going to have a second one. I love you so much. All right, so you have a wonderful afternoon with the good deacons in. All right. So, anybody else want to run down your local connections, see if they know anything, see if
I
they've got any? I'm sorry.
could I like just check in on Balthazar?
Sure, sure. Let's see. Mm, give me a just give me a straight luck roll. Just 2d6, no modifier. Unless, do you have any spells that might influence? Um, I know you don't have any that just are like a straight influence of chance, but do you have any blessings, guidances, that sort of thing?
I do have guidance.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, give me a spellcasting roll and do a guidance. Mercy. Okay, sometimes no answer is also an answer. Go ahead and mark experience. Um, the feeling you get is one of those, the spirits help those who help themselves. You've heard the parable of the cart driver. There's an ancient story about a cart driver. The wheel falls off of his cart, and he drops to the ground and he prays to the gods, "Please, please, please help me." And a god appears to him in front of him and says, "You don't need me for this. You can, get call a few of your friends, lift the cart, put the wheel back on. The gods help those who help themselves." So you kind of get a little ringing in your ears about that. You don't need me for guidance. So a little sad of heart, you go looking for Balthazar, and you find him. Um, he's strangely, he's by himself in a corner of the little sort of tavern in the village. Um, he's got a bottle of, it's not tasty, but it's strong. Um, and he's obviously had a few, judging by the level of the bottle, but he's almost white. He's pale, and his hand shakes while he um, is filling the glass. Does not look like he's in great spirits. What do you do?
Oh, I go up to him and like ask what's wrong.
He gives you a shaky little smile and gestures to the bench next to him. Um, oh, it's good to see you, Ranvir. Good to see you. Yeah, no, I'm, and he blusters for a minute. Uh, he's not doing well, and he breaks down a little bit. He pours you a shot of whatever this is and slides it over to you. No, Ranvir, I just got back. Um, they wanted us to scout uh west, right, toward the necropolis, and we ran into some bad stuff out there. Um, I mean, I let everybody know they were coming. That's my job. It was the middle of the night, and the howling started, and it sounded like a sandstorm screaming through a canyon, only it just went on and on and on and on and on, and the stars were glaring down at us, and these things appeared, just howling with these green light pouring out of their eyes and their mouths, and they saw us, and they screamed louder, this echoing wail. You can see the hair on his arms is standing up now, and he tells you that his scouting group of 6 bumped into these horrors out in the middle of the wasteland, And some of them tried to fight and went down very, very quickly. And he and two others ran like hell and just basically kept running until they couldn't hear them anymore. And then um, hid and waited. And when they didn't hear anything, they just kept hot footing it back to the fortress. He is very, very, very freaked out. Um, but the description you get is mannish in shape, head, shoulders, arms, legs. Sort of a fast, shambling gait. But where the eyes and the mouth are just shining green lights, and they glisten. It's like they were covered in something, and like that, just the starlight and the moonlight, it picked up this slime all over them. And one of the scouts had a bow, and he was putting arrow after arrow into these things, and they just kept coming. And one of them touched the archer, and he screamed and fell over. Um, and the two guys with clubs and daggers didn't do much better. Um, and he said, I've never heard of anything like these, Ranveer. Do you have any idea what what these things could be?
Ever heard about these?
I'm sorry.
Would I have ever heard about these?
I don't know. Give me a recall roll. What do we call that here? Give me a yeah, recall. Wipe. Oh, well damn, yes. Um Excellent. All right, so I'm going to give you some information, and if you act on that information directly, you get to take +1 on any move you make around it. So if you run into these things, if you're doing more research, if you're trying to run away from one, you can get a +1 to that roll. Okay, so you think you think you've heard of these before. The howling is important, um, because if they're what you think they are, they're called Bane zombies. Bane, Bane zombies. And Bane zombies, the only good thing about them is that you can hear them coming. Um, and the Bane zombies, um, they howl. They're undead, obviously. Um, your best bet is just to run away from them because they're not fast. They apparently travel in groups, um, from a handful to a double handful, and they're apparently drawn toward light, movement, and sound. Um, and the normal sound they make is like a, again, howling wail. As soon as they have detected anything that they want to run down and destroy, that rises in volume and pitch. It'll shatter glass. Um, and they drip this awful slime. Um, they're also infectious. Um, if you get the slime on like a cut or a scratch, you can turn, and if they bite you, you can turn. It's called Bane Blight. Um, and also they've got a nasty habit of attracting scavengers. Um, because if they kill something or somebody without infecting it, um, there's things for scavengers to eat. So, very, 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 very bad news. They're not invulnerable, but they can take a beating. And yeah, just don't, if you can at all help it, don't get within touching or spitting distance. All right. Anybody else want to beat the streets for information?
Seeing as I'm the last one, I think I'll probably skip this time around, as there's nothing that Albrecht wants or needs at this point.
Excellent, Siobhan. Okay, so um known issues. You got the Dominion. Where do they come from? Where are they going? What do they want? Always a problem. Um, the Northwest. The Northwest is problematic for a couple reasons. That's not a direction that you have much information about. Um, between bandits, raiders, uh, twists, sometimes some mutated people and things can shamble around and ruin your whole day. Also, it's Northwest is going to run along the road that you might have heard about, runs dangerously close to the necropolis. Okay, nobody really remembers what the name of the city was before, but when the fall happened, something really hammered this city hard, and it wasn't physical. Apparently, a lot of the buildings, structures, etc., remain, but there were a number of diseases and banes and blights and necromantic energies, crackling through the skies. So you do know that every now and then undead will come wandering from that direction. It's been a known issue for a while. Um, Which is problematic. If they came from the Northwest, they might have some means to deal with undead. And again, a troop like you've seen marching through here look like some fairly bad dudes. Um, so um, the ongoing problem of how could we maybe stop the undead out of the necropolis, the current events problem of what does the Dominion want and where the hell are they coming from? We've never heard of these people before. And again, well organized. Or anything else that y'all want to run down. Um, there were the raiders that took out the other scouting group, which gave you the information on the Fortress of Bone. What what if any of those is something that you and your scouts without portfolio might want to check out?
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like one of our best ways to maybe try and maybe not garner an ally, but understand the methods of our possible enemies in the future would be going northwest and seeing those, trying to find those tribal areas where they might have taken people from. Also, we have somebody who deals with fire and it would be very good against undead. Um, but before we go, we might want to like gather some gear if that's the plan that we want to go with. What do you guys want to do?
I am down for that.
I mean, what else are we gonna do?
We could just go straight north.
Let's spice it up. Let's go northwest. It'll work better.
Beautiful. Oh, by the way, Albrecht, you were also, when you were attached to this group, you were also given 5 jingle. Jingle is an abstract unit of currency. Basically, 1 jingle will keep you alive for about a month. Relatively safe space to sleep, half decent food, enough water so you're not thirsty all the time. Jingle is also good for like a piece of mundane gear, repairs on a piece of mundane gear, or or maybe even a tricky repair on something special. Um, if some of their local warlords who ask for taxes, basically that's a jingle would be the average person's yearly tribute to a warlord. But yeah, just it's a handful of easily portable trade goods, basically. So all y'all at the very least have the five jingle that they gave you. Xander, since you are working for the locals, you could requisition food, water, gear reasonably. They're not going to send you out with like a tanker wagon or anything. But so um if anybody wants anything different, anything in particular, um, weapons, armor, um, stuff. Oh, again, a word to the viewing public. One of the coolest things about a lot of the Powered by the Apocalypse games, this one changed my life forever. Adventuring gear. Adventuring gear. Watching Game Masters. When's the last time this happened? Let's go on a shopping trip. Ah, I would rather eat my own foot. So here's how adventuring gear works. Our party spends some money on adventuring gear. 5 uses. They're in a tight spot. Xander says, man, if I just had a block of wax to make a copy of this key. And uh, Luther says, oh, I've got a block of wax. Writes down block of wax, marks off a use of adventuring gear. Okay. It ain't magical. It's a bag of stuff that you bought at some point that you could reasonably buy in a mundane place. What do you got? I got a handful of caltrops. Okay, cool. What do you got? I got a 50 feet of rope. Okay, cool. What do you got? I got a 10,000, I've got a faceted diamond as big as my head. No, no, you did not. Oh, okay. So as long as you keep it cool, mundane, basic, um, if you buy a little adventuring gear, sooner or later you have 5 mundane things and no more adventuring gear. And you go and buy more adventuring gear. You're professionals. You know how to deal with life in the wild. So if you want to get anything, weapons, armor, any sundries, let me know and I'll tell you what they cost.
Is there a chance I can get like lighter armor, something that's not easily biteable but not like tanky?
Oh, what's the weight of your armor currently?
One.
Oh, okay. That's going to be about as light as you get. Um, so leather, chainmail, brigandine, that's all one armor, one weight. The next step up is scale mail, which is 3 weight. Plate mail is 4 weight. And the various kinds of shields are 1 weight each. So one if you've got one armor, it's going to be about as light as you can get. Anybody else?
Is it okay? I have the 5 jingle
Uh-huh.
with me, and I
Hmm.
have a sapphire from the Fortress of Bone. Am I able to
Right,
go up in any more armor, or because I have scale armor?
right. For 2 jingle, you could get yourself in some plate. That would be 3 armor, 4 weight. Oh wait, that is rare. So you might have to roll the bones on finding that. Let me see.
Also,
Um,
how do I calculate how much weight I can carry?
your weight carried is going to depend on your character class, and since you are a field, let me just take a quick look here. Field, uh, your carrying capacity is tick tock, tick tock. Oh mercy! It's going to be based on what's your hard bonus?
Um, 1.
1. Okay. Oh my gosh, I don't know that I wrote that down. Tee-hee, let me grab that for you. Oh, now I'm gonna have to check all of the character sheets I've published on this to see if they got it. That's irritating. Let's see. Sorry about the delay. Let's see. All right, so we are actually currently coming up on 4:30. We are at 4:21 Eastern Standard Time. This would be a good time to take a bio break so I can check on this data for our players. We're going to take about 10 viewing public. We'll be back. And team, we're going to discuss how long the rest of the session is on break. So if you can count us out there.
Okay. I'll see. I can go ahead and move now. Adios.
All right. See you soon. Back, faithful viewers. All right, so watch as we burn stuff and blow things up. Oh yeah, only on Saturdays. No, sorry. All right, so we're back at the Temple of Light, the fortified monastery, and anybody else want to pick up anything? If you're just schmying around, if you have any weight limit available to you, also known as a load, if you have any load available, you might want to stock up on rations and water. Again, the basic stuff you can get for free or cheap. If you want anything good, you will have to pay a little bit for it. You were looking for plate mail, correct,
Yes.
Xander? Okay, that's going to take a roll,
Okay.
and that is because plate is quite rare. Let's see. So, get you that. That one's actually a special move called acquisition. Okay.
Okay.
So acquisition. Oh, I'm sorry. This would be barter.
Oh.
Acquisition is the other one. All right. So barter and a settlement. When you go to buy something with some jingle in hand, if it's mundane and readily available, you can just buy it. If it's rare, you got to roll plus hot. You have a decided advantage in that one. Oh, mercy. Barter
Oh.
12. Okay, that did it easily. All right. So, because you are who you are, and because you drive a hard bargain, my good brother, you are able to find plate mail for a reasonable price. Plate in this event would be 2 jingle.
Okay.
You probably got it through the temple, um, and they do charge you for that. Anybody else looking for anything mundane or special?
Can I look for like scale mail?
Scale mail. Let's see.
Could no, my size wouldn't fit him.
Who was looking for scale?
Ranvier.
Oh, scale mail. Let's see. I don't think that's rare. Let's see. Um, yeah, the only problem with scale is it's heavy, and it's also clumsy. If you haven't practiced using scale, um, when you wear it, you're going to be at a -1 penalty to any of your quick moves. So, are you still interested? It's fairly readily available.
Is there any kind of armor class 3?
Yeah, that would be a plate, and plate is also clumsy if you're not used to it. Now,
Do I?
what you could do, since you have the one armor now, it's was it leather or chain?
Chain.
Chain. Since you got the one armor now, you could invest in a shield or a buckler. A shield is just a regular old shield, which would give you +1 armor while you're using it. It also doesn't have a clumsy tag attached to it. If you were looking for a buckler is a small metal shield that's got a tag of defensive. Okay. And defensive works 2 ways. If you're just using it as a shield, it gives you +1 armor. But if you're using it for a safeguard, if you're using it as an active defense, instead of the +1 armor, it gives you a +1 to your safeguard roll. So it's a little more versatile. And again, they're both relatively light. Buckler is 1 weight, and a shield is one. I'm sorry, shield is 2 weight. So if you wanted to up your defenses for a minimal weight, that would be a buckler.
I think I'll go with that.
Beautiful.
Ranvier does not have self defense.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
Okay.
defense.
All right, so I'll put that in the chat here. That's 1 jingle, and you're able to acquire that relatively easily. Anybody else?
Does anyone need a short bow?
I got magic.
Yeah.
I don't need a short bow.
Yeah. Albrecht, do you need
I would say Albrecht's not really the type of person to use a bow.
Okay, beautiful.
Okay.
If you don't have any use for it, again, the temple would be more than happy to outfit the protectors with a few more bows.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
dump a bow and 7 of the short bow ammo I have.
Oh wow, that's a lot of ammo. Cool. All right. So the plan then is to head to the northwest, see what you can see. When you're about halfway out of food, turn around and come back. Yeah, or reprovision and press on. Correct?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so that gets us into travel trackless wastes. All right. So, um, if you're going from point A to point B and you know about it, you basically just burn rations and water and you're there. Traveling trackless waste is when you're traveling through hostile or unknown territory. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Um, you're going to have 3 jobs filled. There's the quartermaster, who makes sure that you get enough food and water to get there. There's the trailblazer, who makes sure that you get from point A to point B in the most ex, expeditious means possible. You don't take any false turns, you don't get lost, etc., etc. And then there's the scout. The scout makes sure that anything bad that might ambush you doesn't. Okay. Anybody who's got one of those 3 roles, and 3 of you are going to have to take those 3 roles. The roles are all based on cool. Okay. All based on cool. So you're each going to give me, anybody who's got a job for the trip is going to give me a cool roll. If you roll well, fantastic. You can even get there faster, get there with less food spent. Or if you roll poorly, well, something interesting will happen. So, who wants to volunteer for quartermaster, scout, and trailblazer?
I'll go for quartermaster.
Quartermaster, awesome. Anybody else have a decent bonus to cool,
Guys, my
or at
cool
least
is
not
0.
a penalty?
I
My
mean,
cool is +1.
Oh, excellent. So you'd be you want to go with scout or trailblazer?
What'd you say the Trailblazer did again?
Finds the best path there, shortens your travel time.
I would say that one.
Okay, so who's going to be your scout?
I mean, I got a +3 cool.
Oh, why didn't you say so? All right, so you're the scout. Let's start with that. All right, Luther, go ahead and give me a cool roll, please. Boom. Well, okay. So, of your choices, either you spotted some, let's just say that you spotted some bad news well in advance, and you're like, hey, gang, let's take a quick right here and hide out and whatnot. So, whatever potential badness that you could have run into, you didn't. Well done. And Trailblazer, go ahead and give me a cool roll, please.
Okay. You go through.
Doesn't appear to have. While we're waiting, Quartermaster, give me a cool roll, please. Dang. All right. Looking good. And oh my. Yeah. Clicking once. All right. And you
Oh.
were the trailblazer, Albrecht?
Yep. So it's the
Okay.
first one, 5.
Yep.
It wasn't.
Okay.
For some reason it wasn't activating, so
Yeah.
I just ended up pressing a lot of times.
Yeah, it's a known issue with Roll20, unfortunately. Sorry, Roll20 folks and those who love it. It's a known issue. All right. So the good news is, Quartermaster, you're going to reduce rations and water required by 1 each. So if you normally would be asked to spend 4 rations and 4 water, that would reduce it to 3. The scout did spot trouble soon enough to get a drop on it or get away from it. Now, Trailblazer, Albrecht, mark 1 experience, please. You got lost. Okay. So if one of you wants to give me a cool roll to figure out where you are and how long it's going to take you to get where you want to be, who wants to be the big hero and get you unlost?
I got
I
it.
think Mr. Plus 3
Luther.
should do it.
Luther,
I
of
got
course.
it.
Yeah.
He's so cool you could soar a side of beef in him. He's so hip he's having problems seeing over his pelvis. All right. Well, as the zookeeper said, I got good news and bad news. The good news is you know exactly where you are, Luther. You did have to wait until nightfall. I'm going to say that each of you normally would have spent 4 food and 4 water. Currently, you can all burn 3 of each. Okay. So yeah, you didn't get where you wanted to go, but you got there quickly. So you've each burned 3 food and 3 water. If you're out of either one, consult your party. And if all of you are out, we'll start talking about dying of thirst. Okay, so the good news is, Luther, you're pretty sure, based on the stars and whatnot, you're pretty sure you know where you are. The bad news is you are on the very outskirts of the place known as the necropolis. Okay. Now, again, good news, bad news. The bad news about the necropolis is that from every account and rumor, it's crawling with undead of every variety. However, the worst are probably the ghouls. There's a version called a long arm ghoul, even standing completely upright, which they can't quite do. Long arm ghouls have exceptionally long, muscular arms. So if they hit you, plan on being knocked back or down. They also have very nasty claws that can shred armor. And they also have a really nasty habit of mimicking voices. Okay? So you're out here all fat, dumb, and happy, and Xander goes off to go to the bathroom, have a little quiet time, brought a book, doesn't come back. Doesn't come back. And everyone's like, Xander, where are you? And this voice is, oh, I'm over here. Help me, help me. I've got my foot stuck under a rock. Help me. And you all go out. Yeah, mimicry. So they're scary, scary. Also, they travel in groups, and they're fairly intelligent. So yeah, ghouls are seriously, seriously bad news. You do not want to be, you either want to find a safe and defensible position sooner rather than later, or you do not want to be anywhere near this place the next time the sun goes down. So, what do? Run like hell or look for shelter?
But we run like hell.
It's one.
I also vote run, but
Oh.
if we
I do have another fly in the ointment. Luther, my zealous little deviant. Because the necropolis is so dangerous, it has also been rumored to be an absolute trove of before times magic, knowledge, stuff. Now, I'm not saying that your nose is going to lead you directly to a source of that elemental incense that Acolyte Liam told you about. But if there was an undisturbed trove of anything within 100 miles, unfortunately, it would probably be in the necropolis. So, just as a thought, what do you think?
I say we stay.
Nothing's no use to you if you're dead.
Listen. It's a cool city. Need I say more? It's a nice neighborhood. I'm sure the housing rates are pretty good.
It's walkable. It's a walkable city.
Yeah. It's a nice, quaint, calm, quiet city.
I don't. It's not from our accounts. It's a very howling like city. I don't know if it's quiet. You might not get that much sleep.
Yeah. The great things about having undead, though, is the neighbors are usually very quiet. Usually very. So,
I also put my vote in stay as well.
Oh
Okay.
no. Okay.
It was
Okay.
either stay or run, and one of those options Albrecht Alder would not do.
Gotcha. I mean, Albrecht, you've been a soldier long enough that sometimes a strategic retreat is the right thing to do, but um, entirely up to you. All right. So while you're discussing it, the sun does rise. You were not bothered tonight anyway, but once once Luther tells you about where you are, that could be subject to change. Um, let's see. Does somebody want to give me just a straight luck roll, please? You can just roll any of your stats that don't have a modifier.
Luck roll. Yeah, I'll go with a cool luck roll.
Cool,
Roll
cool.
cool.
Oh, okay, excellent. Um, Xander, give me a D8, please.
All right. Dice.
I'm sorry. Well, no, that'll work fine. That'll work fine. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Probably should have been a D10, but D8 works just fine. Um, let's see.
Either really good or really bad, right?
Um, yeah. All right. So you've made it a quiet and lightless camp because that's always smart to do out here. Um, you notice something. Maybe you were on the last watch of the night, but you notice something. Um, not quite due west of you, um, but enough, almost due west, enough that it gets your attention. You think you see signs of a uh, smoke from a campfire, but as soon as you get a good eyeball on it, it it disappears. Um, the terrain here is relatively sandy, windswept into dunes. Um, and there's something over there, again, within eyeshot, not close, but within eyeshot. If you didn't look at it too close, it looks like just another sand dune, but the color is wrong. You thought it was a shadow, but no, when the sun comes up a little bit more, um, color's wrong. So, not sure. What do you do?
I think first, is there anyone like standing around me who appears to be everyone's awake at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're
Okay.
awake and discussing the next step.
Okay. I would like to mention, just so everyone here knows, I think I saw a fire last night when everyone was sleeping, but it kind of disappeared. And if you would all kindly divert your attention to this sand dune over here.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody anybody taking a special look from here?
I can.
Any Anybody with particularly sharp eyes? Okay, so that would be an observe roll. Anybody who wants to roll and observe? Okay, cool. So you get to choose one question, and when you act on the answers to that question, you take +1 forward to your next roll.
What here is not what it appears to be.
Ah, okay. Well, again, drawing on your vast knowledge, um, that's probably some kind of tent. And based on, again, you watch it for a little while. It's apparently a fairly clever design. It's designed to mimic like a sand dune. The only reason that you really spotted it, and the only reason that you're fairly sure that that's not just a weird colored dune, is it's almost exactly the shade of this other sandy, deserty area quite a ways from here. It's got a reddish tint to it. Okay. So if you were 50 miles east of here, you never would have spotted it. It would just look like anything else. So apparently, somebody who's used to hiding out in some sandy terrain with camouflage type tents, a little far afield, but that's what you think it would be. What do y'all do?
I mean, I'm about to head into the city.
Let's go to the tent. There
It's
was someone else there.
it's actually the tent is the city is mostly to the west of you, so the tent is kind of sort of between you and the city, if that makes a difference.
Okay. All right. Hear me out, Luther. Hear me out. If we, I agree that we should check out the tent at the very least. I don't agree that we should check out the city. I think maybe the city is something we do after we secure the people that we care about. I put. Do you have anyone that you care about, by the way, at the temple?
No,
Uh, like
can't think of a
no
single
one?
one.
No.
No,
Okay. Okay.
nah.
All right. Well, never mind. I was gonna try and make a metaphor, but that's okay.
I second
Um.
going to no further.
You know what the best metaphor is, right? Metaphor is grazing cattle. That's what metaphor. Sorry,
Yeah.
bad pun. Bad pun. I did warn you. It's right on the label there. Okay,
Yeah.
so we got one vote for checking out the tent. What's everybody else think?
I said that we should go to the tent, but no further, like Xander,
Yeah.
saying that treasure and magic items are no use to us if we're dead.
I
Okay.
agree.
Anybody else?
Listen, my vote's the city, but that's my vote. I'll leave it there.
Please, Albrecht.
I think my vote is going to be on the tent mostly because it's just at least it's here right now. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. So what's your approach? If there was fire and if there was smoke, there, 9 out of 10 odds would give you that there's somebody in the tent or near it. What do you do?
Okay. Why don't we walk up kind of quietly at first, and then when we get within shouting distance, Luther, you get your thing. Blast them if they need blasting. But I feel like we try and talk to these people. I feel like that's the first approach.
I agree.
You okay with that,
Okay.
everybody?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So, you're going to try to quietly approach the tent. All right. So which one of you has the lowest quick?
Probably me.
I have -1.
You
Okay.
have -1.
Anybody
Let's see.
anybody lower than -1? I don't think that's the case.
No, I just have -1 as well.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a quick roll there, Albrecht. Let's see how sneaky you can be.
Okay, here we go. And now I just have to wait for that actually to
And
pop up
then
on roll
we
20.
wait. And then we wait. Yeah,
That, or I
it's
can do the spamming method.
you could also see if you go over to the die rolling thing off to the left,
Guys,
see if
I
it'll
see
let
it.
you. Okay.
It's 2d6,
Just
right?
2d6, correct.
Okay,
Okay, so that would be a 4. All right, go
that'd
ahead
be a
and mark.
4.
Yeah, go ahead and mark experience. Um, well, you do manage to determine if there's somebody in the tent. Um, that's the good news. The bad news is you are there's an arrow that suddenly chunks into the sand right in front of your feet, which is a polite way of saying you are in sight and you are in range. What do you do?
Try talking to them, or like just shouting out, saying we're not a threat. We're not here to harm you.
Let's see. So it sounds like you're attempting some sort of parlay, which would be something along the lines of cut a deal. Okay. So let me know what you want and let me know what again, they're acting, whoever it is acting vaguely hostile, but they could have shot Albrecht right in the face as opposed to a warning shot. So what do you think? What approach are you going to take apart from we're not here to hurt you?
We're just wandering through. We saw smoke here last night. Wondering if there's anybody else that could give us information about what's going on with the city.
Okay, give me a straight hot roll, please. Nice. Um, okay. From the tent or from somewhere near the tent, you're not sure. There's a raspy voice. Who do you serve?
I serve the people.
Hmm. Which people?
People of the world.
Hmm. All right. You may approach alone.
All right. I walk up with like hands up.
Okay. I need you to give me a recall roll right now. Okay, easy enough. Um, so you approach the tent. Again, it's very cleverly constructed to look like a sand dune. And someone steps out of it. You don't really get a whole um you don't get a really good look because this person is entirely wrapped up in it's not bandages exactly, it's just very tightly fitting wrappings, um gloves gloves almost to the elbow, like a full face mask, with like breathing slits cut in it, um lenses over the eyes, cowled hood, um and this person has a bow and a relatively short blade at their hip. Um, and they're strangely slim. It's like it's not quite skeletal, but really, really, really skinny. And there's a certain odor. It's not terribly strong, but it's almost like a black licorice smell. And that sets off all your warning signals because you have heard of these folks. They're called the poisoned ones. When the fall happened, a lot of magic happened to a lot of different people and things. Um, some of them just died. Okay. You know, when you sprout an arm in the middle of your forehead, fall over dead. That's fine. Some of them were twisted, and there's some fairly common twists, wings and sharp teeth and claws and things like that. There was a certain group that was cursed by a dying god, and they are cursed by having their flesh and blood and spit and tears are all hideously poisonous. Okay. Um, most people won't trade with them. I mean, they're basically just folks, hunters and whatnot. Most people won't trade with them though, because a spare drop of sweat in somebody's, water skin would kill them. And they're not, even if you trade with them, most people don't allow them in settlements, but they're called the poison ones. And they also have a really nasty tendency to poison all of their arrows with their own, when somebody can lick an arrow and shoot you with it and you die horribly. Yeah, pretty big deterrent. So you are looking at a poisoned one, and the voice is male. You think, and this one looks you up and down through these sun and sand scoured lenses. So you're a long way from whatever town you call home, young one. What do you want?
We're just passing through the area. I guess if anything we want is information on the Necropolis over there.
Yon armored one was passing through the area directly toward my tent, trying to be quiet about it. So maybe you better tell your friend not to wander quietly toward where somebody might take exception to that. Necropolis. Yeah. Um, haven't been in. Hear bad things about it. I too am just passing through. Have you noticed any dust storms last couple of days?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. If you do, if one kicks up real sudden, just from one wanderer to another, turn around and go the other direction. There are things out here that can kick those up on purpose, and we'll use them. We'll use the lowered vision to attack you. So I was just about to finish breakfast. You don't want any. So just keep your hands where I can see them, and go tell your buddies.
Thank you.
Huh. You're very polite. Not a lot of people are nowadays. All right, I'm gonna give you this one for free. You ever heard of the dust folk?
I have not, no.
Yeah. Good. They're not good people. The dust folk killed most of my tribe. I don't know why they got it in for us, but they killed most of our tribe. Um, so and they can call dust storms. And I think there's a group of them around here somewhere. I've been tracking them for a while, but they've gone to ground someplace. And unlike some of us wanderers, they'll shoot first and ask questions never. Um, so watch out. All right.
Thank you.
And
Thank you again.
yeah, you're welcome. So yeah, the poison one ducks back into the tent, and what do you do?
So I go back to the group, tell them what they said, including they say that they don't go near the city.
I mean, is it really that bad of an idea?
Yes.
Yes.
Come on. I mean, come on. Like, maybe we'll find something valuable for maybe something shiny, maybe something that could help other people.
But it's no use to us if we're killed.
I hate to be morbid, but like, is surviving in this world really worth it if we don't have fun little trinkets?
Yes.
Okay, you keep your opinions to yourself. I still want to go in the city.
Albrecht had a sergeant who had a few words to say about safety. You know, when you're charging the enemy crossbowmen, come on, you apes, who wants to live forever, right? All right, so yeah, so you stumbled upon a poisoned one's camp. As your where do you go from here?
I think I want to try and utilize a blood. Wait, actually, Luther, what's your what's it called? The I have mine here. Let me look at it.
Avarice?
A key.
Yeah, what's your key? Sorry, key. Yeah.
My key. Hold on. Offer me something valuable so I can sacrifice it.
Okay. Can I utilize my own key? Like, can I activate the authoritative one, which is act unethically so I can force you to do the right thing? Um, I think that I'm seeing Luther trying to like push us into almost certain immediate danger. Like, would that be considered like unethical?
I mean, well, you tell me. The people that have been most responsible for the danger in your life, Brother Xander, have been your immediate superiors.
Yeah.
Go out there, see if there's anything dangerous. If there is, deal with it and keep, the temple safe, keep the people safe, et cetera, et cetera. So, on the one hand, you kind of signed up for putting yourself in harm's way. That being said, um, the people you choose to surround yourself with, some of them are in it for, making everybody better. Some of them are in it for the money. So Luther isn't like, in Luther's lights, he's not acting unethically. Unethically would be like blackmailing you all into going, or, hey, I put some poison in your food, and once we're in the necropolis over here, I'll give you all the antidote.
Okay.
Cool? So yeah, no, he's not particularly acting unethically by his standards. So if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, you're standing here again. It's not quite noon. I'm sorry, probably mid morning, and you can see some buildings. There might be a watchtower over there, um, and from what you can see from here, it's eerie. Um, all of you have walked past a ruined village or town or city before. The cataclysm, when it came, was fairly complete. And then the survivors would do things like show up and grab a wagon load of stones to, build a fence around their farm. Okay, so looking out and seeing stuff that could be actual standing structures, quite a few of them, that's, you know, it's a little eerie. So what do you do?
I think we need to keep heading northwest, guys.
Okay. So you're gonna skirt around the outside of the necropolis, keeping
Yeah.
an eye out for danger. Okay, that's cool.
Is that
Um,
okay, Luther?
I mean, I bet it'd be quicker if we went through the city.
I mean,
I mean,
Any
doing
any
some ancient trigonometry over here.
Would it though if we get caught in like 18 fights?
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
would the biggest enemy, hypothetically, the biggest threat in the city, be out in the daytime?
You don't know.
hard to say. The ghouls do not like sunlight, um, typically. Um, but they're also usually pretty good at hiding in places where there isn't any. So if there was like
He's frozen.
Oh,
Let's see.
um,
Uh. Okay.
okay.
Owen.
I think what we could find in the city would be honestly very beneficial for all of us personally. And I honestly, if we're going northwest, are we going to find anything that could be as valuable as whatever could remain in this city?
Right, but also I think Ranveer over here has a great point. Those who die don't get to experience the joy of wealth.
I'm not in it for the wealth.
I-
Just so we're clear.
Maybe on the way back. Why don't we just make a compromise? Why don't we say on the way back?
Um, sure. I mean, we go in the city, we go in the city. I don't care when it happens, but we just gotta go in the city.
Did we see the message that was just sent to us?
What did he just say?
Yeah.
What did he just say?
His cat.
He said a cat stepped on his power cord.
Nice. Okay, let's just keep going.
Okay.
Albrecht, what is your input here? What do you think? What do you think we should do? You've been kind of quiet since you almost got shot at. There
My
he goes.
input was that, at least I said this before, that I had interest of going into the city, probably for a particular reason of there's also stuff that we could get in there, and because he's not really afraid of those pesky undead.
Oh,
Oh,
coming
good,
back.
he's back.
Oh, amen.
There we go.
yeah, you can things. You can't really plan for when your cat steps on your power cord. On a brighter note, I'm soon to have a new fur hat. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that, folks. So, the plan was to skirt the necropolis. I was asked whether or not the worst, most dangerous things might be out during the day or mostly at night. Well, undead and ghouls and all that good stuff. Again, typically night dwellers. Um, but anybody think you might know a little something, might remember a little something about stuff you might have heard about the necropolis?
What do you think would be discussed in the temple?
Oh, any of the dangers in the surrounding area. The other thing the temple does is it strikes me that y'all would be of the knowledge is power type of
Yeah.
organization. So yeah, as many records as you can get, travelers, tales, you know, basically stuff that you're doing, going out and looking for dangerous stuff. Yeah, they probably kept some records of that.
Okay, I will hit a recall roll.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Mark experience. Yeah. From what you remember, the daytime is actually fairly innocuous. There was you think you remember like some stories from a wanderer who basically said if you can hole up for the day, if you can find like a real tight bolt hole, if you can minimize the signs of your passage and just, you know, barricade yourself in real good. Um, there are some bad things wandering around at night, but you could avoid the worst of the ones by having a nice safe hole to hide in by the time the sun goes down.
Would Ranveer remember anything just from travels and like because he just goes around the land, so he can pick up things from people?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a recall roll, please. Mark experience. Yeah, you've heard a lot of the same stories. Yeah, pretty much really dangerous at night unless you can find a place to hide. But the daytime is your should be absolutely cool.
I still vote that we go around.
I say we go around, but if we go through, then I think we have a plan. If we can make it through like in one day, great, right? Then we just sit on the edge of the city, try and find somewhere strong. But honestly, I think we still go around. But that's just because I think the safest option is still dangerous, but a little bit less dangerous.
Okay, so skirting the necropolis. Awesome. All right, so this how much food, who's got the lowest amount of food and water?
I have.
I have one.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh. I have 3 of each, and I have a jar with 4 uses.
So, okay.
Although I might have like something random in me on my personnel that I could eat if I needed to.
Do you have a jar?
I have an oil slick coat.
Yeah.
I'll give you a jar before you
You
before you
just
have to do
reminded me
that.
of a bad joke. Yeah, I was at a wet t-shirt contest the other day. That was crazy. The winner ate 5 of them.
No.
Boy, that first one, they're just hard to cut. You know, the shoot, I don't know. It's just, yeah, he was pretty impressive. Okay, so, yeah, oilskin cloak. Yeah, not gonna be good eating. You'd do better with your boots. So sounds like you're running low on food and water, correct? Well, you're not that far from the temple environs. And it took you about 4 days to get here. Um, yeah, I mean, if you rationed it, you probably all wouldn't die of thirst. You might need some time to recover afterwards from being severely dehydrated if you headed back now. Um, Otherwise, you're going to have to find some water at the very food you can go without for a week or two. Not a real major problem, but water is non-negotiable. So, just as off the top of your heads, let's see. So Xander's got 3. Uh, Luther's got 1. So we got an average of 2 days there. Those 4 uses of that strange jarred food, it's actually fairly quenching as well. So each one of those strange jars of foodstuffs count as 1 food and 1 water. So let's see. You got 8 total. Ranveer, how much water do you have?
I have 2.
2. So 10. And Albrecht, how much water do you have?
I too also have 2.
Okay, so 12. So the 4 of you could go 3 days, again, assuming that you're willing to share around. You could go 3 days. Yeah, if you left now, you could make it back home. But otherwise you're gonna have to start finding some water. I know some of you've got purification stones. We talked about that. For those of you in the viewing public, purification stone is an alchemical, magical thing, very minor. You drop it into a couple of gallons of Mankey water, and it basically soaks up everything except the 2 H's and 1 O. Then you leave this stone out in the sun for a while until all the mank dries up and falls off. Um, but it'll get you from point A to point B if you can find anything drinkable. All right. What do you do? Skirting north or heading home?
Now,
Okay.
just saying.
Would you?
There
I have a
could-
question.
Sure.
On this map, would you say the necropolis is around like this location here?
Let me see. I don't actually. We're off the map at this point.
Oh, okay.
Because basically, you all headed up. Let me do a different color here. You all headed up this road,
Mm-hmm.
traveling basically north and west. Again, the trade road. There probably was a main travel route up here at one point. It's since been sand covered. There's not any settlements up over here to maintain it. So some of the old roads were really good roads, and you can tell where this one kind of sort of went, and you've been following that. But you're significantly farther north and farther. Let's see, a day's travel on the roads. A day's travel would probably get you from the temple to here. Um, again on a good road, and you're 3 days farther north and west of that.
Okay.
So
From the tribes you want to get to.
Repeat it.
Oh, how far away are from the tribes you want to get to?
you're not entirely sure, actually. Reports of the locals are pretty sketchy.
Okay.
Do you think the man in the tent might know?
We should have asked the. Oh.
Sounds like someone should go ask them.
Let's hear me out. If we do that, if we ask the man in the tent, we should go back and just prepare. Like this was our scouting mission. We come back, and then we go find the tribes.
But if the tribes were closer and we showed enough, I don't know, your thing, kindness, yours, they might give us maybe food and water.
Right. Yeah, and also if it's not the tribes who are in control anymore, we could just say, "Oh, we're from the south. We're here to be a scouting party and say hello." And they might provision us on their way back as a sign of goodwill. Maybe. Um, yeah, yeah. I say we do that.
So
What do you guys?
what are you doing?
Venture to the man in the tent.
Gonna go talk to the man in the tent. Okay.
Could just I go?
Yeah,
Sure.
we'll stay back. We'll stay back. Don't worry,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay.
Go.
So tell me about how you approach the tent.
I just walk with my hands up, like last
Okay.
time.
Okay. So the cowled and wrapped head pokes out again. Did you change your mind about the tea? What are you doing?
Well, it completely like glimpsed my mind when I was first talking with you. But do you possibly know anything about tribes in this area, like the northwestern tribes?
Kinda. Um, they normally avoid folks like me. Though I did do some uh, sand trading with them at least once. Um, for those of you who don't know, sand trading is when you put some stuff you're willing to trade and you back off, and the other folks show up and put down a pile of stuff that they're willing to trade, and you show back up and you make a little pile of their stuff that you want and back off, and they show up. Basically, it's a no contact bartering. Basically, you both make piles of stuff that you want, and when everybody agrees on everything, you take what you want, they take what they want, and you pick up your stuff again. So it works nice. If you can kind of trust each other. Well, all right. There is a tribe that's not far from here. It's only a couple miles. Yeah, it's a few miles due west. They're odd. Um, they're hunters and whatnot. They they wear really strange armor and gear and stuff. I kind of think of them as the bug people. Um, so I didn't have any luck approaching them, and they got some pretty good scouts and trackers and hunters. You wanderers might do better at that, but so there's about, I don't know, 40 of them over that direction.
All right. Can I give him one jingle as like a thank you just for us bothering him with the information?
Uh, okay, so you offer to give him something. And again, you can't really get much of an expression because he's got a full face covering, but you feel like you maybe shocked him a little bit. Is everybody as nice as you where you come from?
Sadly not.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, well, um, when my people receive a gift, it's customary to return a gift to the giver. Do you have a minute to wait?
Of course.
Okay. Um, he goes back in the tent and you hear some rummaging sounds. Do you think Ranveer would prefer something useful, something informational, or something valuable?
Something useful.
Something useful. Okay, cool. Well, he comes back with a fairly large bag, and he says, what do I call you,
Uh, my name is Ranveer.
Ranveer?" "Thank you, Ranveer. My name is Rin, and I give you this gift freely, um, with both hands." And it's relatively heavy because it's got books in it. Um, so, bag of books, rules as written. It's 2 weight and it's 5 uses. I'm going to put this in the chat. 2 weight, 5 uses. Um, they're rare, so this is worth quite a bit of money. Um, and you can use a bag of books to look up things that you're trying to recall. So when you're doing a recall roll and you burn a use of your bag of books, you get a +1 to your roll. And if it gives you a success that you would not normally have achieved, you tell me the title of the book. You're researching, I don't know, monstrous creatures, and you get a bonus and you learn something. You're like, oh, a bestiary of the known world, right? Again, it's kind of like adventuring gear. You write down the name of the book and what it's good for, and mark off a use. Sooner or later, you have the names of 5 books, and you got to go try see if you can find a new one, new bag of books. But there it is in the chat. Now, know that books are rare and valuable enough that people would potentially try to kill you and steal them. This is by far the most valuable item you have on you right now. So there's the stats on that. He says, "Yeah, I hear some people pay a lot of money for those things. I couldn't make head or tails of them myself, but yeah. So good luck, uh, Ranveer." And he whistles. It's this strange sibilant whistle. The other three of you are a little surprised when the sand dune, probably 20, 30 yards away, somebody suddenly stands up who they were wearing a dust-colored cloak, and they've obviously been hiding out in the in the dune there watching you. Quite a bit closer to you than either Xander or Albrecht are comfortable with. It's got like a snorkel, almost like a breathing pipe out, puts it in, and again, one of these fully wrapped and clad poisoned ones, and heads over to the tent. The one you're talking to, Ranveer, does not make any introductions, and the two of them break down the tent in a very swift fashion, and he nods to you, and they hustle off to the northeast. So what do you do?
I take the information back to the group.
Okay.
Tell them like to the west, there's the tribes in a couple miles. We'll probably be able to make it today.
Oh yeah, easy. It's again, this was probably old like farmland and stuff. So as long as you don't stick your foot in a hole, it's an easy walk. So is that the plan?
I think so. What about you guys?
I'm game.
Oh my.
Cool. All right. Does anybody want to scout ahead to see if you can see the where this tribe is hanging out?
If I must.
Awesome. Go ahead and give me a cool roll, please. Dang. All right. One of you could fail a roll every once in a while. All right. So
Yeah, I did every single time.
Oh, I feel you. So, you're sneaking around, leading the way, and the ground gets more broken here. The the buildings that you've seen up close, they are dusty and broken shutters and rotten wood and that sort of thing. So it's not as pristine as you thought. But again, you're in a neighborhood at this point. So you're sneaking around. Luther, you peek around a corner because you think you hear something. And your first impression is a bunch of beetles, a bunch of ants or something, walking around on their hind legs. And whoa, I mean, like big, like person-sized insects. And duck back, take another peek. And you realize you're looking at a bunch of humanoid, mannish type creatures, um, wearing like bug parts, like like if you took like a giant ant, right? It's chitinous. It's very, very hard. If you hollowed out the inside of the head and poked the eyes out and stuck that on, it's kind of a helmet, you know. If you did the same with the thorax, front and back, and stitched it up real good and put some, buggy parts. I mean, you've seen worse. Um, but this group up ahead of you, apparently they've stopped to have a little lunch. It's a little afternoon, or maybe a siesta because it is getting kind of hot. Yeah, so they're all hanging out in shade, and one of them's got this tiny little cook fire, and you can smell very vaguely some tea steeping, and you hear a very, very low conversation. It's a bunch of people dressed in bug armor. Next question is where they got the bug armor. That's, a little creepy, and enough to outfit a dozen people in it. So, but there they are. Probably, unless there's two indigenous tribal groups in the area, these are probably the folks that the poison one was talking about. So what do you do?
Guys, do we do the same approach? Like, just yell at him, or try and walk up quietly?
I can make an introduction if things go wrong.
You should.
You guys be right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my short bow ready.
I'm gonna back up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not drawing it. I'm just like, I have it out and ready.
It's ready.
I'm gonna
Okay.
go up and approach them same way. Like, hands out so I'm not holding any weapons.
Okay. Well, give me a hot roll, and you are going to want to roll high.
Let's see.
Da-da.
Oh.
Ouch. Okay, well. So when you make the I come in peace, take me to your leader approach, a couple of things happen in rapid succession. Half of them, and again, there's a dozen, half of them immediately scuttle towards cover away from you. The other six fire at you with these nasty little bows. You've got 6 arrows inbound. What do you do, Ranveer?
Do I have enough time just like to hit the deck?
Yeah, you can try to jump out of the way. Go ahead and give me a quick avoid consequences with quick.
Void peril.
Yeah, avoid peril with quick. Okay, so acting fast. All right. So you got a choice. You are going to avoid most, if not all, of the damage. Okay. However, either you fail to notice something, you somehow draw attention to the rest of the group, or you accidentally drop something that you really, really wanted out in the open while you dive for cover. Your call.
Lose those books.
What was the first one?
First one is you take a little bit of damage, but not as much as you normally would have.
I'll go with that.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a D6, please. Okay. So you take 2 points of damage, do apply armor, but not your shield. You were diving out of the way. So this flight of arrows sings through the place where you just used to be. One of them clips your leg a little bit. It's a flesh wound. It stings. You've had worse injuries from an angry cat. Let's put it that way. But it does get your attention. All right. So you dive and are in cover. Xander, you hear the snap of bowstrings. Ranveer lets out a very manly and not at all girlish little squeal, and you hear this unmistakable sound of somebody hitting the dirt. And yeah, right around the corner. What do you do?
I want to I want to try and like shoot an arrow. Actually, no, no. I'll put away the short bow. And how close would you say Ranvir is to me? Can I like move up with my shield
Sure.
and like get up there with him?
Okay, sure. Are you interested more in protecting yourself or protecting Ranvir?
More in like keep the shield up as I get up to him, but then like protecting him once I get there.
Gotcha, gotcha. Give me a safeguard roll, please.
Okay. I will also use okay. I'll also use I am your shield. So safeguard 7, and then I have a +1 hold as
So,
well.
okay. So you get to spend 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so on the safeguard 7, normally you'd hold 1, now you hold 2. What would you like to spend those on?
I'd like to give Ranvir a +1 forward against the attacker,
Uh-huh.
and then I would like to let's deal damage as high as my level, and my level currently is what? Do you see me actually being able to deal damage to them?
Not at this range. If you still had your bow, yeah, but not at this range.
Okay. Then I would say redirect any attacks from Ranvir to myself.
Okay. So, Xander, exhibiting an almost precognitive ability to know that the fumets had hit the windmill, charges around the corner just as Ranvir hits the dirt. Remember that 1 point of damage you took, Ranvir? You didn't. Xander soaked it with a well-placed shield and putting his body between you and danger. You have a ringside view there, Xander, as the 6 that just fired at you pull back. This next 6 behind them fire at you. They're doing a fighting withdrawal. All right, you got 6 arrows inbound. Hey, Albrecht. Xander just charged around the corner, and you're hearing bows snapping and arrows hitting armor. What do you do?
Okay. Knowing that their more peaceful attempts did not work, I kind of want to try my own cutwood deal, but using the intimidating factor that the hammer has.
Okay, so you're trying to let's see. Okay, cut a deal is one thing.
Specifically, well,
Go
it
ahead.
says cut a deal using threats of violence, and then I always count as having leverage.
That's true. What the hell? Go ahead and roll it, please.
Okay.
Okay.
What's it mean to have leverage?
Okay. Leverage is something they need or want. Okay.
Okay.
So if you've got a handful of jingle that somebody really, really wants, really, hey, I'll cough up a few gold pieces here if you let me through this door. Yours is always, I will let you keep breathing if you do the thing I'm telling you to do. Intimidation. And strangely, um, it works. Whatever threats you're shouting and, walk. It does take a certain type of person to walk out into arrow fire and go, listen, you sons of bitches. Um, yeah, I'm going to cloud up and rain all over you, or whatever verbiage you chose. They're shocked. The archers stop firing, and they're, you got a lot of eyes on you, Albrecht. And the language is really hard to understand. Not it's either a really, really weird variant of the local language or not related. But the facial expressions and, gestures and the vocal tone is, what do you want? Anybody who wants to be able to understand this a little more clearly, go ahead and give me a sharp roll, please.
I'll toss one in.
I think
Yeah,
I was gonna
why
say I think Ranveer should have.
Okay. Anybody else?
not? Why not?
There we go. There, mine went in.
Okay.
Which one did you say it was?
Sharp.
Sharp. Might as well.
Okay. Um, well, you spend a little while not quite yelling at each other. You find out it's kind of like speaking Spanish and Portuguese. They're not the same, but there are a couple of, what did he say? He's pregnant? No, he said he's embarrassed. Oh, okay, yeah, different, yeah, close. All right. So you've got some armed and neutrality here going on. A lot of points pointing at you. Um, one of them kind of pokes his head out. What do you want?
I speak up, probably, dust and sand off my clothes. Being, we're just wanderers passing through. We heard of a tribe up this way, and we have come to uh, visit, learn more about you, your culture.
Hmm. Hmm. Go ahead and give me a cut a deal roll there.
I'm trying to hold my shield like this, by the way.
Wow. Um,
+1 on this.
if
If I'm acting on the information the poison man said.
that's true, so that'd be an 8. Anybody want to give him a proper drop? Actually, Albrecht, go ahead and give me a proper drop on Ranveer there. He's the good cop, you're the bad cop. Give me a roll, please.
For which one? Cut a deal.
No, for a prop or drop on Ranveer.
Which proper drop on the rolls?
It's under the main.
It's under moved and it's under let fly.
Typically, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So when you hit
Okay.
it, it should pop up a chat box that asks you who you're propping or dropping, and that should add your number of blood with them.
Okay. And to Ranveer.
Mm-hmm.
Sent.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, the bug people are very cautiously, they say, you in front, throw down any weapons and approach in peace.
Is that me?
Yeah.
All right. I put down my crossbow. And walk forward, hands up.
You get the impression they didn't really expect that, but all right. So 15 minutes later, you're all seated very cautiously around this tiny little fire. One of the warriors is a relatively young man, old teen young man, who comes around with these they're little metal plates. They're like the size of a saucer, and on each one is some roasted meat. Smells good. Um, Hands each of you one of those, and hands one to the older warriors. And then comes around again with these little carved stone cups, and puts like basically 2 mouthfuls of water in everybody's cup. And the warriors are looking at you and they take a bite of the meat and take a drink of water and take a bite of the meat and take a drink of the water. What do you all do?
I'm trying to copy them, I feel like.
Okay. This meat is good. Okay. If any of you had ever been anywhere near a seashore, this tastes like lobster. Quite tasty. Very, very rich and meaty. My cat is trying to kill me. Okay. So we are at 5:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When next we meet, you will be in conclave with the bug people. They're bizarrely curious as to why you would walk in here, but end of session. End of session. First question: take a look at your motivation. Okay, motivation for those out there. Motivation is your reason to do what you do, and if you get knocked down, that's the reason that you get up again. For example, Xander, what's your motivation?
Mine is endanger myself to protect someone weaker than me.
Did you do that?
I ran in front of those arrows.
Yes, you did. Mark experience. Everybody else, Randveer, Luther, and Albrecht, take a look at your motivation. If you did something in this session that would fall under that motivation, then mark experience. If you have any question about whether or not you did it, or if something's marginal, you're like, well, this could theoretically be interpreted as, let me know now, and I'll make a ruling.
Because mine is pride, where it's put them back in their place for lack of respect. I don't think that would count since it was essentially like an attack. Would it? Would it not?
Actually, no. Stepping out
Okay.
into arrow fire and saying, knock this off, or I'm going to come over there and ruin your whole day. Yeah, you pretty much established yourself as the big monkey. Yeah, I'll give you an XP for that. Mark it. Anybody else?
Was wanting to go into the city taking a risk for my own personal gain, or was it just suggesting a risk?
It was definitely taking a risk. And as a sidelight, risking everybody else. So yeah, mark XP. Ranveer?
So mine is using magic to aid another.
Didn't use any magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, not this time. Maybe next time. You're usually pretty good with the slinging spells. All right. Next, check your keys. Keys are negative personality aspects that other players can trigger. So, if a player accidentally or on purpose triggers somebody else's key, they get an experience point. And if somebody follows their key and it causes the party problems, that player gets an XP. Did anybody have their keys triggered this time around?
I have a question on mine.
What's up?
It is trusting. It is be suspicious of a person so I can trust them regardless. I think just walking up to
You did
somebody.
you did that all day, brother. I mean, oh, who is this strange person hiding out here in this camouflage? I'll go make friends with him. Yeah, definitely. Mark XP. Mark XP. All right. Anybody else hit their key?
Nah.
Okay, cool. Finally, blood. If there's been enough happened in your lives that it would change your attitude about any of your compatriots here, that's called resolving blood. If it happened, mark 1 XP, and you can write down a new blood. That new blood does not have to be with the same person. Okay, so read through your blood, look at your attitudes. Again, it's only been a short period of time that you've known or you've dealt with Albrecht this time around, so that might not be appropriate. But any of the other three, if you're like, I have had a change in attitude about somebody, let me know. Anybody?
I feel like Xander's starting to get a little bit of a change in attitudes towards Luther.
What was the
Um,
other? What was the blood originally?
I have two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have is a better soul than they let on,
Mm-hmm.
and my example will inspire Luther to dare mighty things.
Oh,
And
right.
I don't think it's the second one. I think it's much
Mm-hmm.
more of the is a better soul than they let on, He was very, very, very insistent that we go through the city no matter the cost.
So is that a more social, uh, civic-minded public thing, or is he still kind of? Oh, so you're changing that? Maybe
Yeah,
Luther is still the selfish so and so that I've known all along.
right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, mark XP and change it. And again, you don't have to make the same. You don't have to make the blood with the same person. You can add one for any of the other PCs. Anybody else want to resolve some blood? Awesome blossom. Okay, if that changes, let me know. Speak sometime in the next 5 minutes or forever hold your peace. All right, then the big three questions. First question. Did you learn something new about the nature of the world or the universe?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
much.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Everybody mark 1 XP. Did you recover a noteworthy treasure?
Yeah.
The
Yep, bag of
books.
books. Bag of books. That's not nothing to sneeze at. Everybody mark 1 XP. And did you defeat a noteworthy opponent?
Would
No.
disarming count as defeating?
It can. It can. I'm gonna give that one to you, and I'm gonna put this right at Ranvir's feet. Um, Ranvir, the poison ones are some of the most dangerous folks you can run into just walking around, because when they can spit in your drink and kill you, yeah, and they're not. Yeah, you talked your way out of a lion's den there, basically. So, and you neutralize that threat. Um, Xander and Aldrich, you've heard a little bit about those poison folk. If you had not one but two of them gunning for you on your trail, yeah, make sure your wills are in order. And you and Ranveer kind of talk, yeah, I'm kind of a nice guy, teehee. Here, have some stuff. Thank you so much, sir. Really? Okay, I guess. So, awesome. So everybody mark 1 XP for that. All right, and leveling up is going to be happening offline. You are technically in a safe place at this point, and assuming you play your cards right, you can rest long enough to level up if you need to. But we'll re-explore that at the end. Also, gold stars. Gold stars. For my viewing public, gold stars. Each of my players gets to gift another one of my players with a gold star. That gold star is for great role playing, or the time that they made us laugh, or the time that they made us cry. It was much longer than cats. Or for no reason whatsoever. Just, hey, I think this was kind of sort of vaguely cool of that person to do this, and I want to gift them my gold star. I'm going to start with Ranveer. Ranveer, who gets your gold star for the evening?
Luther does.
Luther. Any reason, or just
They
does?
played their role very well.
Yes, I would have to agree. I'd have to agree. Xander, who gets yours?
I would say Albrecht. That talking down was pretty great. It was a
Yep,
it was nice.
yep. I'll be honest. I didn't expect you to do that, and it worked pretty well, strangely. So, Aldrich, who gets yours?
I would give it to Ranveer,
Ranveer.
mostly for being the diplomat out of the four of us.
Uh, Finest kind. Everybody needs a face. That's awesome. And Luther, who gets yours?
Ranveer.
Ranveer. Awesome.
That bag
Awesome.
of books will come in handy.
It certainly will. It certainly will. Okay, so I'm going to reserve the right to give a GM's Storyteller's Gold Star as well. If you all had kind of a mundane, who cares kind of a session, that's going to be the Silver Star. The Silver Star gets you a +1 forward on something. But if the role playing was good, if the danger was high, the stakes were there, everybody was on the edge of their seat, that gold star is worth 1 experience point. And I guess you all know I'm giving it to Ranveer for being the righteous dude that he is, and thinking outside the box, nonviolent solutions. Yes, when you bumped into the poison ones, I had some very definitive ideas of just how bad that was going to hurt all y'all. And as Elvis Costello once said, "What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding. So, making the world a little bit of a brighter place. All right, so thank you so much, folks, for watching the Fortress of Bone series here on No Theoretical Bias, Season 1 of many. Tune in next time. We're shooting for Sundays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And make some comments on this. If you see us on YouTube, make some comments. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you like to see more of. Check out the links in the comments for where you can get this game, where you can watch some of the other No Theoretical Bias productions, podcasts, whatever. It'll all be there for you to look at. All right, and thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you, faithful viewers, so we hope to see you next time. And have a great night. Count